This is the Spurs Postcast, your instant game reaction for the San Antonio Spurs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, maybe it was the sub 30 degree temps. Maybe it was the ice on the roads. Maybe it was the fact that when it's a snow day, we all just kind of like to sit in bundled up, right? Whatever it may have been, the San Antonio Spurs team that we've gotten to know and love this year as the team that sits firmly in second in the Western Conference, a little bit on shaky ice because the one that showed up tonight at the Frostbank Center, a completely different squad. So we think at least. And not an evening that ends particularly well for your silver and black. Welcome into the Spurs Postcast right here on Locked On Spurs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one podcast network in the land. He, of course, NBA champion Devin Brown. My name's Casey Viera. An ugly night for the Spurs. A 104-95 defeat to the New Orleans Pelicans. The worst team came in with the worst record in the Western Conference. In a game that New Orleans at times dominated, the Spurs just come out. They do make it a game. We'll get to that in a minute. But my friend, it comes down to the stretch. It comes to a question of effort and energy and just being lethargic and lifeless. And I think all those things tonight could probably categorize, this performance for the Spurs squad.
Casey, yes, welcome to another great show. Yeah, we have a lot to break down, but I'm dressed for the occasion. That's the one thing I did right for the show tonight. So let's get started.
This is what you'll be talking about.
First quarter wasn't half that bad. They went into the break on with a 3-point lead, 28-25. Vic and Fox each had 6 apiece. But the second quarter, they get outscored 31-19, ultimately go down by 9, heading into the halftime break. Collectively, by the time they get to half, they're shooting 5 of 9 from 3. Again, the Pelicans, metrically, statistically, one of the worst teams, defensively in basketball. Be mindful of. And the third quarter, usually it's been a matter of holding on to leads, things like that, and a matter of, more often than not, they've had the lead, just kind of holding down the fort. This was a matter of digging themselves out of a hole. And very few spots have you heard Sean Elliott on the broadcast kind of express a vocal frustration with the team, especially when they're actually winning like they are this year. They looked lifeless and went down by as many as 20 points coming up on the outside of the halftime break. But this was interesting. This was a credit to Mitch Johnson at this point, who coached a little bit of a roller coaster game tonight. He pulls essentially a hockey line switch, gets all the starters out of there, brings in the bench. It sparks a little momentum to put them back within 14. They open the fourth quarter on a 24-5 run to actually take the lead. So you're thinking, here's those Spurs we've been loving all year long, right? Not so fast, because in the final 5:09, after going up 92-87, they do not have a field goal until the 28.6 mark left to go. A testament to the defensive stands by New Orleans, making buckets, getting stops, some more late game issues. And as a result, we're having a conversation about a really frustrating night for the Spurs.
All right, so here we go. Yeah, like you said, first half, great. Okay, second half, let's get into that more, because that's when these problems kind of, really came in. And, I love the move by Mitch, pulling those guys. Just the starters didn't have it. Went with the bench, and Carter Bryant fueled them, hit a couple of threes, started getting them back into the game, things like that. Now, to defend Mitch, and I don't do that a whole lot now. To defend him, I think he started going back with the others because defensively they weren't executing what they needed to execute on that end. So he went back with, to get a couple of those guys out of there, just because I think they were messing up their assignments. But I'll tell you what, when they came back, Casey, and late in that fourth quarter, when you thought, okay, here we go, the ship is, now it's right, it's not rocking anymore, here we go. New Orleans picks up a couple technicals, free throws, the free throw line. I don't get that. And like you said, for them to be lifeless after 2 days off, that's, if I'm and I am a coach. I'm not the coach of the Spurs, but if I'm Coach Mitch, that concerns me the most, Casey.
Yeah, cautionary for sure. And I think it's the fact that, like what you just said right there, is that they didn't travel. It's not like they had to brace these crazy storms that have been going across all across the nation. It's not like they had that side really going against them. They were home, they were comfortable, they were in their bed, and they came out and just didn't look the part tonight. Didn't look the part of a team that has aspirations of winning the Western Conference right now. Some more numbers. Vic goes for 16, 4 blocks, 6 of 16 from the field, 2 of 10 from 3. Fox, 12 and 7. Stephon Castle, another off night, 5 points, 4 boards, 5 assists. Keldon had 13. The free throws are what's going to doom them here, though. We'll get to that in a second. 19 of 32 tonight from the charity stripe. 19 of 32, out rebounded 58 to 46. I want to revisit, I mentioned the 509 mark. The 509 mark is when things really changed after they opened the fourth quarter on a 24-5 run. Because after that, like I said, no field goals, but we're going to fast forward to the back end of that, I guess you could say, with a chance to, really bring things closer. And it ended up proving to be kind of the death knell for this Spurs team tonight.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
All right, so a situation where the Spurs are finding themselves down 5 with 2 minutes left. They've already found themselves in this spot where they've seen that lead go the other direction. And they're trailing 98-93. Vic goes to the line. Misses 2 free throws. Keldon gets tangled up on the box out. He goes to the line. He misses 2 free throws. So in that span, the Spurs missed 4 free throws, an opportunity theoretically to, I guess, realistically get back within, because you need 3 throws to get back within 2. But it was like situations like that that they found themselves in with tired legs and digging themselves out of that first half. When you do that, and really a matter of too little too late, kind of, because when you try to work overtime like that after playing so lousy as they did for the first 2.5 quarters, fatigue started to show. That's obviously not the excuse, but flat legs, flat feet. The Pelicans mowed right through them down the stretch. And it's a little bit unprecedented to say on that front, because the Spurs have more clutch time wins this year than the Pelicans have total wins. Spurs came in 16-8 in clutch time. The Pelicans came in 11-36 overall. But that just kind of speaks to what we were saying before. It's that fatigue can't be an issue. Energy can't be an issue in a loss like this.
Yeah, 2 things that you bring up there. Casey, been in this situation with so many teams, so many organizations. Let me just say this from the locker room aspect. When you're battling and you're, like you said, coming uphill all game long, and you get there, you tie that thing up, and then you take a 5-point lead, or whatever the lead was, 6, whatever it was. Hey, that's when you really put your foot on the glass and get, what'd I say?
Foot on the gas.
Gas, yeah. I said glass, sorry. Gas. And you really get rid of a team like that. Like you said, 11-36. First of all, they have no business being there with you. That should happen in the first quarter. You come out, you put a 40-piece on them, let them know they're going to be in for a long night, but that didn't happen. But anyway, they got back into it. Other team picks up a tech, can't control one of their players. Now you're really sitting pretty. But I'll tell you what a job by James Borrego. He spent a lot of time here. Shout out to him because he kept, he made a couple substitutions, kept his team poised, and they were able to pull it out. But, Casey, everything that you speak of is correct. We're going to get into late game stuff later, but, it's just, it goes back to them just not having that energy, and that's what I told you before we started. I'm just puzzled by that.
Mm-hmm. One of those spots where it's not, and we're doing this obviously in real time, so we don't know what Mitch Johnson's saying, but I can paraphrase for you what he's probably saying. All the things that we just said.
Yeah, me too. No, it goes like this, Casey. Yeah. Beep, 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 beep.
Exactly. Zion Williamson played really well tonight. He had 24-10. Yves Missi had a couple big stops along the way that got Zion out in the move, and the Spurs didn't have an answer on that front. Continues to be a mind-blowing aspect, the career that is Zion Williamson. I don't like the dynamic. Well, there's a lot of things you don't like. I don't like the fact that this happens just a couple days removed after what happened in Houston too. Because you think in a situation where that happens in Houston, where you blow that double-digit lead, and in a spot where energy and effort gets the best of you, where the Reed Shepherds of the world, they get the best of you. That happens in Houston. That happens in a playoff team. You're not the first team in the world to face another playoff team, a rival in crunch time. That energy gets amped up into 11 into a visitor's building, whatever. It's not good, but it happens. You're not the first good team to have that happen to. This is the type of thing. Do you find something like this more cautionary, or I guess more telling evidence to kind of validate a lot of the concerns that we have with stuff that we saw with Houston?
Man, one of the really, and like I told you before, really one of the biggest talking points are something. I don't even know if it gets brought up. You look at their record. Yeah, they're the worst team, but a lot of that was done without Zion. Well, Zion's back now, and that's a whole different animal, because now all the other guys that had hurt, Trey Murphy had hurt us in the past. The Fears kid had a big game against us before. Well, now Fears, he was out there. He did a couple of things, but Zion, 24-10, all in the paint. That's more telling. That interior defense, where is one of the Spurs' strong suits, was not there tonight. Casey, we talked about this, and we have to mention this. New Orleans is a very physical basketball team. So, yeah, they might be 11-36, but they went out there, and in the first half and pretty much all game, they bullied Wemby. And I think that's what led to that 2 of 10. And we talked about this before. He takes a couple of shots, he turns into Larry Bird. He's not really trying to go inside too much. And he was trying to find everything from the perimeter. But we know Wemby, he'll probably go to the practice facility tonight, get some shots up, and be ready for the next one.
Only team that shot shooter, or the only guy. I tried to make a witty pun about the fact that you were, you got your garage mitten gloves on there.
Yeah,
it failed.
Tyler's.
Yeah, they. What I was going for was that they were shooting free throws tonight, like they were wearing Devin's gloves. That was not it was not.
Oh yeah,
executed. That's what I was. That's what I was going for. So we'll jump on that witty quip. More concerns we want to talk about than Devin's gloves, I guess you could say, is the late game execution. And again, a little bit more struggles to speak to that. I have some stats. I have kind of a running list I want to go over on the other side of the break, and I want to pick the brain a little bit of the mind of our NBA champion to see what exactly that tells to you following a 104-95 defeat tonight to the New Orleans Pelicans. Of all teams, the worst team in the Western Conference, getting the best of the Spurs tonight in the Alamo City. Until then, let's take a step back and talk about some of our friends who help drive this program and can help you make a little bit of money too. Because we could use a little bit of a pick-me-up, right? That Friday type energy on a Monday. A lot of us in San Antonio, we don't have school or work tomorrow, so that's pretty cool. That's good energy to have. But when we actually get to Friday, you want to open up your FanDuel app if you haven't. Download it, get it already, and open it up and check out NBA Happy Hour. It's your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action even starts. 6 to 7:30 Eastern time, appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. You open the app during NBA Happy Hour, it brings you something new, boost bonuses, surprises, and above all else, a chance to win you a little bit of extra money. So before tip-off, check out the app, see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour. Again, one more time, Friday, 6 to 7:30 Eastern time. So that's 5 to 6:30 Central time with NBA Happy Hour. Only on FanDuel, of course, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Hey, so you win some money with FanDuel. What do? You turn it around and you're trying to buy some tickets to see your Spurs, right? What else would you be doing right now? That's what makes this time of year so special. But getting the tickets sometimes not always simple. It's not. Let's face it, it happens. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast, without the hassle. It puts the advantage right back where the fans want it, in their hands and where it belongs. Something I love about it, you get all the prices up front. And that, I hate getting right to the finish line, right to checkout, and tax on another $50, whatever it may be. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You can see where you're sitting. It's got a whole bunch of cool aspects of it to make sure you get what you want. It takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Game Time. That's what you want. Download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Code LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off with Game Time. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com with Game Time. Not the Spurs night tonight for a quick return back home to the Alamo City before departing on a 2-game road trip coming up this week. Got the Rockets on Wednesday and then the Hornets on Saturday. They would probably have preferred those games be a whole lot quicker because it would have erased the tape of what was the calamity tonight. We're going to go over the final 5 minutes here. I'm going to read you the possession, and it's a little bit, I don't want to say telling, a little, I don't know. I'm trying to find the word telling. I'll let you use your judgment as to what it means before I come to any kind of definitive explanation. So this is after the Spurs, in case you're just joining us, 5:09 mark in, had no field goals and 1 point from 5:09 to the 28-second mark. Castle, first possession, splits free throws. Second possession, Keldon, loose ball foul. Fox turnover, Keldon block. Fox turnover. Wemby misses 2 free throws. Keldon misses 2 more in the same possession. Victor misses a jumper. Victor misses a 3. Castle misses a 3. Champagny ultimately cracks the code. That's the final 5 minutes essentially for the Spurs. I say things like that. What, at least on paper, comes to mind that might match the eye test for you?
So some of these possessions, like we'd have to go back, break down the film, obviously, but the Fox, they were trying to get the ball on the other side of the court. I believe the defender hit it off of his foot. He goes out of bounds. The other ones, and the reason why I say that is if they're trying to run a play like they did late in the game in Utah, I don't have a problem with it. But if these are careless turnovers after you work so hard to get back into the game, that's where the issues come up. So what I'm gonna do is I gotta look and see if they were trying to run something. All right, because right off my mind, I can't think of what it is that they were trying to do. But that's a long time going without scoring late in that fourth quarter. Can't have that. Not where they are. Second best team in the West. You can't do things like that. We all know that. So Casey, it's very concerning. But like I said, I don't want to jump the gun right now.
What did you think of the Fox Victor dynamic tonight? Because towards the back end of that Utah game the other day, where they turned it up to 11 and ended the game on that 27-10 run, it felt like there was a real concerted effort to get the 2-man game between Fox and Victor happening.
Yes,
and it felt like they were a little less assertive about it. Maybe not, because I'm thinking of the possession where Fox looked on the lob for Wemby and Yves Missi blew it up, and then it led to a Zion dunk. So maybe not. But what collectively as a whole, what did you think of that dynamic tonight?
It needs to be more. Like you said, in Utah, you see what it is. You get one the ball, the other one's open, and Fox is able to knock down those threes because, if you get Wemby in the right position, you can't double him, right? He's too big,
Right.
too good of a player. But tonight, it's different because at the end of the third quarter, the 3 threes that they missed, I think Victor was 2 of them, and then Vassell right there at the horn. It's different because in today's game, you don't mind a Vassell, shooting until he gets it going, or Champagny trying to tie it up with one of his threes. And so it's just different for me, and I have to make the adjustment because we're coming down, we're throwing it to 21, and we're going to work off that. We might do that 15 straight possessions. So me getting used to this, up and down. Oh yeah, 3-on-1, take a three. Well, it was a good look. Okay, I'll believe you. So I'm still getting used to some things, Casey. But to answer your question, it needs to be more. And they just, whether it's the high pick and roll, they keep doing where Fox leaves it behind him and Wemby does the three from about 40. Yeah, okay. If he's hit 2 or 3 in a row, run it, but not to try and get him going. Before the first time they ran it, he's 0-7. Like, okay. Oh,
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And we say it all the time. If you and I can see it, they're seeing it too.
I wonder if they just fast forward through that during the film. They're like, oh, don't worry about that part. It's a good shot.
Sometimes when they have these showings where they shoot 12 of 50 from 3 or whatever it was, you legitimately wonder that.
Yeah. I actually do, Casey. I do.
We got this far. Didn't even talk about a whole lot of Devin Vassell. Came back tonight. He had 15 points. Looked good in his return. Came off the bench. That's a conversation we'll have to get to at some point a little bit later on this week. But much needed 3-point shooting came back, but ultimately not enough to help the Spurs get on the right side of things. Let's talk about our player of the game. When healthy, man's an issue.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
The dynamic of Zion Williamson, man. You just watch him when he's healthy and you just wonder. And he's been relatively healthy. That you just been lost this year because the team's been so bad. But the guy came up big tonight.
Yeah, he did. 24 and 10. Laying off the threes, getting everything in the paint. He's a bully. And with his size, with his athletic ability, if he does go back to the three, which he probably will, moving his career forward, yeah, Casey, you're looking at, top 10 player for sure.
The Pelicans are an interesting team because they have talent. They just haven't stayed healthy. And so you wonder what they would look like if they actually stayed healthy for a considerable amount of time. This is 2 years now. They've kind of gone like that. I don't know. I guess we'll never really know. One thing I do know is that my friend and I, we will be back on Wednesday for the Rockets game as the Spurs try to get a little bit of their get back, try to get right on 2 fronts. 1, they lost to the Rockets, and 2, tonight they played awful. So looking good on that front. But Devin and I and Jeff Garcia will be back on Tuesday night as well for the Spurs squad show preview in Houston, but also talking a whole lot about this one because this type of loss you can't really let slide, so to speak, as a fan. And of course, as we mentioned, Jeff, this title pod's got you covered every single day to day, right here on Locked On Spurs. Shout out to you guys. Hope you guys are staying warm, having a good weekend, and we can provide a little bit of entertainment for you. I know it's been cold in I was going to say South Central Texas, really everywhere. So I hope you're staying safe on that front, 1. And 2, thank you for hanging out with us if you are on that front, wherever you are. We appreciate you guys. We know you love you. We love you guys. You're the ones that drive this program. I think that's a good place to leave it tonight. Rough loss for the Spurs. They go down to the lowly New Orleans Pelicans, but the vibe's always up here on the Spurs Postcast. I got nothing more else to add to that. So for my dear friend, Mr. NBA champion Devin Brown, I'm Casey Viera. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a nice night.